Presentation number 3, we'll have Bohdan Dorniak joining us today. So Bohdan is an architect and town planner and the director of Bohdan Dorniak and Co. Architects. It is a firm based in South Australia, and they design energy efficient buildings all around Australia. And Bohdan is sort of our state expert in the design of strawbale construction. So he's designed over 120 different buildings using strawbale construction. So we'll welcome him to the stage and take it away once I get this going.
This project was actually quite interesting because it's a result of meeting Charlie and Marg, who are some old friends at a thinker in residence at the Adelaide Town Hall, and they said, you do some strange stuff called strawbale. And I said, yeah. Do you reckon you could design a house for us that has a good star rating and it's comfortable? And I said, maybe. So anyway, I gave it a go. The team, there's always a team involved. It's not just a person. So we had obviously the architect, the engineer, we had an energy assessor, a certifier, we had the builder, we had a strawbale wall builder, and we also, for this beautiful project, the client's got a photographer. So that was the team. Also, we had the Mitcham Council as, well, I don't know, the team. So these guys bought an existing block of land at Lynton. It had an old house on it, so a little bit of asbestos, a little bit of leaky windows, a little bit of leaky roof, etc. So that's the house as it was. It even had, the site was prepared. So it was, the palette was to put the house back on that flat bit of land, because it was a very steep bit of land. And if you go down and have a look at it, you'll get some exercise coming up the driveway. So this is the blueprints. So important, and we got that about the orientation. It faces north. The living areas face north. The fat walls, they're the strawbale walls, and the skinny walls are the timber frame walls. Cross section, basically a roof with some opening windows for cross ventilation, thermal mass on the concrete slab, and again I agree, lots of insulation in the ceiling, in the walls. Everything we do inside a building we insulate. So that was the kind of theory of getting some solar passive design and good insulation and thermal mass. And we got a nice 8.5 star rating for this, so we were really pleased. Now, a lot of people think that straw bale is something that, you know, you bring along on top of a horse and put down, and, you know, you put the bales on the ground and they'll stay there. Well, it's not quite like that. There's a lot of structure involved in there. So basically it's a post and beam structure. The walls, the timber frame walls were a bit thicker than standard, so we can pack some insulation in there. The floor joists that we use, which is the pointer one? So those things there are called high joists, so they're basically just plywood, and they're about that deep, so you can put a reasonable amount of insulation in there. There's roof insulation as a blanket, so we had some, can't quite see it, but between the roof and the ceiling joist there's some insulation, and then insulation for the ceiling. The cladding on the frame walls was fiberglass. So that's the structure. So that's basically the frame. So there's a frame built, the roof sheeting's put on the walls, and that way you can store the straw bales under the roof. So basically, concrete slab, roof structure, ready for bales. Straw bales being put in, so quite straight walls and protected from the rain by the roof, and they're also protected on the outside by a tarpaulin. So there we see the straw bale walls compressed, strapped, and the lintels, which are these things here, they've been installed. Go back. And that's, a lot of people think about mice and rats and cows eating the walls. Well, horses too, and some dragons. However, with 3 coats of render, it usually ends up that you can't get an ant in there, because with 3 coats of render, you render 1 coat over the other coat over the 3rd coat, so it's fairly sort of ant-proof. And that's what it looked like from the outside, so sort of good building practice. All the stormwater is taken away from the building, and that should be on every project, instead of letting any rainwater sort of falling around the building, causing problems. Internally, we had things like plasterboard. For the thermal mass, we had some stone, also a concrete slab, and that had some colouring in it, so that worked well, and also floor tiles. And in this particular area, the floor tiles were darker towards the northern area, and then lighter towards the back. So any sun coming on from the north could be picked up on the darker tiles. So that was a principle. This is a completed project. So some of the neat things, and I had to write them down. So for example, the hot water service was a Stiebel heat pump. There are 5 kilowatts of solar panels, plus an N-phase battery. The water, there's water stored on the site, 24,000 litres. There's a grey water system, which is called, I've got it here somewhere, can't read my writing. There's also in-slab heating, which is electrical, and that's through the solar panels. The windows, they're double glazed. They're made by a company called Winterlight, I think. There's clear story windows, as you saw before, so that helps with the cross ventilation. The lighting is LED, so that saves a lot of energy. And basically I'll talk to you about the flooring. And I'm about 20 seconds away, and these guys have a electric car, and it's powered off a battery. So very, very nice house, very nice people. Come down and see us. Thank you.